we're going on to another segment of the show. And by popular demand, we're going to be talking about one player that we think is overrated in the Premier League and one player that we think is underrated. Hopefully, we've all gone for different options for the sake of facilitating a discussion. But Mixer, I think we're going to start off strong. I have good faith that you're going to have a couple of bold opinions. So how about you get the ball rolling by... We'll start with underrated. We'll keep it a bit more low key, and then we'll go into some abuse of footballers.
Right. In my opinion, the most underrated player in the Premier League is Mo Salah. The sheer disrespect putting that man's name, and all he does is bang goals. There's a certain man who says that Mahrez is better than him. He is a shit talker. Because Mahrez, as much as he is a good fuller, Salah's the GOAT. That might be a bit of a stretch, but Salah is so underrated. Everyone says he's shit, that he can't do it, but he's top scorer nearly every season since he's come in to Liverpool. Like, he's an absolute goal machine, goal getter. He's just, it's Twitter that he's just so disrespected. It's a disgrace, but he is my most underrated player in the Premier League.
I'm going to go for a different shout here. I'm going to go for Mikel Antonio, obviously someone that we previously hailed on the show. I'm not going in the vein of the top players that are, get a bit of shit on football Twitter. That is fair enough. But those people are idiots. Like, anyone who's splitting hairs between Salah, obviously Salah's better than Mahrez, but it's splitting hairs, really. Like, most people rate Salah like higher. So I'm just going to go Mikel Antonio because the man's a G, and he's the journeyman in terms of positions. He's been everywhere. He holds up West Ham. Like, they don't look like the same outfit. Bit different, granted, now with Jesse Lingard knocking about, but Antonio holds the show together. I'm telling you, he's tenacious. I love him.
Yeah, no, I went into a deep dive into who I think is the most underrated. There was a few names thrown up. I went sort of more at the top end. Obviously a lot of people rate someone like Wilfred Ndidi, so I'm not going to say him, although I do think he's underrated by some. Kind of the same with Calvert-Lewin. Obviously that's changed a bit this season because he started scoring a lot more goals, but I still think people underrate him a bit. St. Maximin. I think St. Maximin could go to the very top. It's easy to forget. He's quite young. Even your Lewis Dunks, I think, is quite good. A player I feel is quite disrespected. And basically the easiest way, if you're talking to me about football, if you're talking to me about United, the easiest way to wind me up is say the Harry Maguire shit, because I'll go into full defense mode and defend his honor as an underrated player. But the most underrated player for me, I've went in a similar fashion to you, James, I've gone with James Tarkowski. I think he's absolutely brilliant. I'm surprised he isn't playing at a higher level. I'm surprised a better club hasn't went in from. I think he's a very, very good centre-back who basically has it all. Maybe he's not the quickest, but he's quite good in the ball. He's aerially dominant. And I don't think he's quite 30 yet, so he's still relatively young. I've gone with James Tarkowski.
He's got a big square head in him, so that would help with the aerial duels. But I just typed in the Google overrated players in the Premier League, and Connell had mentioned ones that he had underrated. So they have Lewis Dunk, James Ward-Prowse, James Tarkowski. Who else is on here? Sigurdsson, which no one really rates him anyways, so I don't know where they're getting overrated. They had Nicolas Pepe, no one rates him anyways. Calvin Phillips, which I thought was very bold because he's very good. Who else? Naby Keita, again, nobody rates him. Like saying Kyle Walker's overrated. I think Kyle Walker is class.
Yeah.
I think he's very good. St. Maximin, you mentioned him there, Cone. Another one here. Aaron Ramsdale, no one rates him because he is the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League.
In your flappy hands, yeah.
Yeah, like Creswell for overrated, and then Adama Traore. Whoever came up with that list needs to get sacked.
I think Adama Traore is a mess. Like, he has only been good recently.
What do you mean recently?
You watch him flap around the football pitch, like
he'll eat you for dinner, buddy.
Yeah, he'll eat me, but this isn't the world's greatest eater competition. This is the Premier League. This is Kalechi and Nacho. This is fudge ball. Like,
maybe his end product, his shooting isn't good, but He's a workhorse and he'll boast you.
His dribbling's insane.
Yeah, and in the words of Rob Holding, he's built like a brick shithouse.
Yeah, and he goes down like a bollocks. That's what the context of that was.
Because he's a winner, mate. Right. Most overrated players. Now, I look forward to your shouts. My shout's fairly tame, but next we're going to start off bold. Who are you going for?
I don't think you're ready for this one.
I think I know who you're going to say.
Who do you think I'm going to say?
I think you're going to say, because it seems to be driven towards me. So I think you're going to say Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes, he's fucking shit. I think he is muck. He's a wee crier, and all he does is kick lads. He's like, did you see my assist? Shut the fuck up, mate. Hate him. And my hatred is he's not a good footballer. All he does is score penalties and get a jammy wee nick off a deflected pass. You know, oh, look at me. I'm Bruno Fernandes. You're a bottler, mate. I hate you. You need to get sent off, get a total lesson or something. Get better at football. Stop getting all this praise. Shit, mate.
Yeah, no. A hot take. Hot take. James, who are you going for?
I'm going to go for Obama who? Obama what? Obama blood clot Zet, fam. He is absolutely shit. Like, he is dreadful. Like, who the hell is this guy? You know, to be fair, he did carry like Arsenal as back in terms of goals for like 4 years. But like, I suppose a bit like you might say with a Salah, sometimes Colin is just like, he's unbelievable. But like, you just like, geez, how is he scoring so many goals? Like, he's just sort of tipping about and he's putting the ball in the back of the net, which is, you know, bread and butter for a striker. But I hate him. He's just boiled himself down to a caricature from former self. He's just got the haircut. He's got the jumps. He's got malaria. He's got it all except for football and ability.
What are the jumps?
It's like, you know, it's like,
if for audio listeners, which is all we have, but James has made a sort of a jumping, sort of twisting motion with his hand, referring to a backflip, I believe.
Yeah, ever since he signed the thing, he doesn't care. He has not been good this season. I would agree that he's a shade or shadow of his former self, and he's a wannabe Travis Scott. I can't imagine his new hairdo is keeping him too aerodynamic when he's running down that wing. Surely there's a lot of air drag, might be the reason. And also getting malaria wouldn't help him, but yeah, he's pretty poo-poo. Like,
I think the Gabonese national team is killing them because like the time before that, like they had to sleep on the floor of an airport for like a whole night. So like they're killing this man.
Lacazette's better than him. Lacazette's been banging the goals in. Boom.
Yeah, so I've went for a tamer shout than the two, to be honest. Couple options I was thinking of. One of them was Kieran Tierney. I think he's a good player, but Arsenal fans, you know, it's hard to blame them because, and I'm generally not trying to be a dickhead here, they haven't got much like. And Kieran Tierney, he is a good player. He's a good left back, but he's nothing special. So I was going to say him. Another one, I'm not going to say him because I think a lot of people have copped on to the fact he's not very good now, but one of them is Tyrone Mings. He's obviously been linked to United. He probably still is, but don't get it at all. He's not great. He's got a big square head, hasn't he?
He has got a great frame. It's deceptive. That's why people might still think he's good.
I think with Kieran Tierney, everyone thinks he's class because he wears t-shirts in the snow. Oh, look at me.
I mean, I had this man like 2 consecutive years in fantasy. Like all he's got is, well, I think you had him last year, Colin, whatever. But like all he's done is one good performance against West Brom and like a last day of the season against Watford. The poor lad has no ligaments.
Yeah, I don't think he's grand, but Arsenal, they're not very good.
Sure, he's been riddled with injuries, to be fair.
My decision for the most overrated, those are two I considered. My decision is Yves Spusuma. I've seen a lot of people rating him this season, a lot of people hyping him up, and I don't get it. He's been in the Premier League with Brighton for a couple of years. You know, he's relatively young. He's like 22 or 23. But to me, he's just a run-of-the-mill, workhorse in midfield. He's fine with the ball. He's nothing special, but he's just a midfielder. He's got a good engine to him. and he'll do a good job for someone like Brighton. But I think if you bring him up any higher, he's like a worse version of Fred.
Yeah, it's actually a good shape. Now, I haven't watched too much of Brighton myself because, I mean, it's Brighton. But he has been linked to Liverpool, and I wouldn't like that signing to go through.
If you get him on the cheap, maybe you do a job.
Realistically, they're like cheap. Anything over 15 million, no.
Yeah,
true.
Because like we Fabinho, like I know we'd need a replacement for Wijnaldum, but I think now if Henderson's come back, we Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, but you'd still need a backup. But there's definitely better backups for a better value that you could look for in the transfer market than Spusuma.